So we are reading Liquid Luck by Joe Gallenberger. We are on page 16 of the book and page 34 of the PDF.
Put less time and energy into acquiring things and make time and energy available for experiences that you know you enjoy, such as listening to great music, being out in nature, baking cookies from scratch, whatever absorbs your interests. Make a playlist of songs that to you celebrate happiness and listen when you need a boost. Happy activities can be simple and inexpensive. It can be a more satisfying to enjoy a good cup of coffee with a dear friend than to go on a whirlwind vacation, though that can be great fun too with the right attitude. Giving yourself freedom to play, to laugh, to be silly, to try new things and not be good at them, to change routine. Look up Laughing Buddha on Subway and Divine Laughter on YouTube and see the power of one's person's laughter. There is a Buddhist proverb that laughter is the language of the gods.
So most of the time we spend in acquiring things, right? And we hoard them. But most of the time, if you see in the pandemic, put your hand on your heart and think or say or tell us, I mean, you don't have to tell us, everyone starts telling it'll be a problem. But how many shirts did you use during the pandemic? I know for one that I've literally lived for the whole year in literally 3 t-shirts, right? Now we've got so many more clothes in our cupboards. Do we really need them? Okay, I'm just giving one example. If you look in your house, you've got so many things that you have not looked at or used for years together. But we have spent a lot of time in acquiring these things. But what is more important is the experience that we have, because that memory is which is going to stay with us forever. The material thing is not going to stay with us. The other fact over here is that the attitude with which you do whatever you do is extremely important. So again, we come back to the grid, right? Which side of the grid are you operating from? That becomes extremely, extremely important, right? Now over here, he also says, do new things, do things that you enjoy doing. Now, if we go back to the list that Robert Monroe talked about in Far Journeys, where he said you make an A list, a B list, and a C list. Basically, this is exactly telling the same thing, that certain things which are in your A list, which you cannot do anything about, just stop thinking about them or paying any attention to them whatsoever. What you have in your B list is what you need to do. So get it done and get it over with. And then you will be left only with your C list. That is the stuff that you enjoy doing, the things that you want to do. And this is exactly what he's saying over here. It can be more satisfying to enjoy a cup of coffee with a dear friend than a whirlwind vacation. What does that imply? That what puts you on the right side of the grid, that is what you need to be doing. You need to enjoy what you are doing. If anything that you're doing becomes a burden, then it's a problem, right? So either you stop doing it or you change your attitude with which you are doing it.
One of the most important things you can do is simple, but at times not easy. Just decide to be happy. You can help yourself with this by starting and ending each day with a few moments of something that you really enjoy.
Okay.
Be
So
happy.
over here, I need to say something. There was a statement that Bob Holbrook, when he was here, he made. Okay. And believe me, I've known that man for about 7 or 8 years, and I have never seen him get angry. So he made a statement. One day I decided not to get angry, and he has not got angry after that. So that is the power of our conviction. Okay. I'm not doodh ka dhula hua. Even I get annoyed and irritated at times, but yeah, I'm watching myself. I'm definitely working on it to reduce the anger to an extent that nothing outside really starts to bother me. Nagarji also says nothing in the world is so important that it creates a problem for you. You get that? So nothing is so important. So this becomes important. So over here he says one of the most important things that you can do is simply decide to be happy. So you can actually decide that I want to be on the right side of the grid. It is a decision that you can easily make and then work on it. That's all. And the more you become aware of it, the easier it is going to be for you.
So, one of the most important things you can do is simple, but at times not easy. Just decide to be happy. You can help yourself with this by starting and ending each day with a few moments of something that you really enjoy. Be happy about at least part of the situation you find yourself in at any given time. My brother John was challenged by a disease called inclusion body myositis, which is similar to ALS, where all the voluntary muscles waste away. He had a feeding tube because he couldn't swallow and was on a ventilator much of the time to help with his breathing and was confined to a wheelchair. At the time I wrote the first draft of this chapter, he only could speak quietly for a short period with great effort. John lived next door to me. The disease is fatal and he died while I was writing this book. I loved going to see him even during the last weeks of his life because he said he still looked forward to the day. When there visiting with him, it was obvious that he was happy to see me and celebrated the good fortune in others' lives and a myriad of other things.
So again, at the end of the day, it's all about the attitude. Okay. What is the attitude with which you are living? You can find, you can go into a control drama and become the poor me, right? But if you can be in a happy attitude and give whatever you can give in the circumstance you are, and accept with love whatever is being given to you with love, you will find that many things in our lives will start to shift. Stop cribbing and start appreciating. Operate out of gratitude, and the shifts will automatically come. So find something to appreciate in each and every situation that you're in, and you will see that your the how the situation occurs to you will shift, and how a thing occurs to you is the result which will lead to the future. So if you shift how a thing occurs to you, you shift your future and you can transform your future, because your current attitude determines what your future is going to be. Okay, so this becomes very important. What is your attitude in the present moment? We need to be constantly aware of that.
Feeling happy makes it much easier for us to begin to think more positively. And thinking positively is a very powerful manifestation tool, as emphasized by Norman Vincent Peale in The Power of Positive Thinking, and by other many authors and empowerment leaders since. Positive thoughts tend to bring positive experiences to us in this free choice universe that resonates with what we are thinking and feeling, feeding it back to us in events, people, and experiences. For proof, just smile genuinely at a few people you meet during the day, and most likely, most of them will smile back at you. Or joyfully help someone each day and experience the increase in people spontaneously offering to help you.
So this is extremely important. Again, it deals straight away with what's your attitude. What are you thinking of? How are you behaving? What is happening in that track which is running in the background? What is your self-talk all about? Right? The more uplifting thoughts you have, the more on the right side of the grid you are, that will start to manifest in your life. So what is your attitude is what will resonate with you. We looked at this when we were, again, I'm constantly referring to this. When we did Zero Limits, after Zero Limits, we read The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. That's the book that Ravindraji wanted to really talk about when we were talking about the books. We haven't read that book yet. So after, maybe we'll take up Zero Limits and then we'll take up Dark Side of the Light Chasers. But in that book, it was very clear. What you see in the mirror is what you will resonate with. So what you are, that is what you will notice. That is what you will see. So I have a saying written on my board over here. We do not see things as they are, but as we are. Why? Because we will see, or whatever will come into our perception is what we resonate with. So whatever is occurring to you is related to your resonance. So you cannot blame anyone for anything that is happening to you. You have to take responsibility because it is the resonant frequency that you are operating.
I think that we would be happier if we treated ourselves like a dog, meaning a favorite pet. When I think of how we treat a beloved pet dog, I'm reminded that we thrive best when we extend similar kindnesses towards ourselves. I would never say to my pet that it is fat, old, or ugly, yet I might still criticize myself for my perceived imperfections. Given that DNA in a test tube responds to positive emotions and language, it stands to reason that so do we. So, it is important to praise and talk positively and lovingly to yourself. We all need to hear good dog many times a day.
So this is so important. We saw this when we were, we've been constantly talking about the effect that our thoughts have on water, right? The experiments that Dr. Emoto did, where if love was stuck on a glass, then the crystals which were formed by that water were very, very symmetrical in shape. When you put hate or any depleting word, the crystalline structure of the water was totally defunct. Okay, this was an experiment done by Dr. Emoto. There was another experiment which was done. Here he's talking about DNA. A DNA sample or a cell sample of a person was taken, and then the person was subjected to some kind of a stress, right, in the same room. And the stress reflected in the readings that were coming out of that particular cell, which was taken from that person. Then they put that person in another room and subjected him to a stress. It again reflected in the DNA sample that was there, or the cell sample which was there in the lab. Then what they did was they put him in another floor in the building. The same thing happened. Then they shifted him into another building. The same thing happened. They shifted him into another street. The same thing happened. They shifted him to another area in the city. The same thing happened. They shifted him to another city. The same thing happened. They shifted him to the other side of the world. The same thing happened. Why was that? Distance, time and space is something that we've created. In the quantum universe, time and space does not exist. Okay, so what you are resonating with, it doesn't matter where you are, you will resonate with it. We did the Resilience Advantage program yesterday. I hope that people had a great time. But in that, the Institute of HeartMath has actually shown that the heartbeat of the mother resonates with the brainwave pattern of the child. So we have many parents or mothers who actually get to know, they get a feel if something is going wrong with their children, because there's a resonance, right? Ultimately, the DNA is the same. The child has the DNA of the mother and the father. So when that happens, there is a resonance. So you can get that feel. The same thing happens with twins. Many twins can actually feel what is happening to their other twin. Why? Because the DNA is literally the same. So they are in the same resonant frequency. So naturally, what this says is that we need to stop. Who's our biggest critic? We ourselves criticize ourselves the most. We need to be compassionate and loving to ourselves. So over here he says, we all need to hear good dog many times. So we need to drop criticizing ourselves. Again, we come back to the 4 agreements, right? What were the 4 agreements that were there? Be impeccable with your word. Do not make assumptions. Uh, do not take things personally and do your best. So I'm talking about the 4th tenet over here. Do your best. If you are doing your best, you cannot do better, right? So there is no point in criticizing yourself. But yes, if you're not doing your best, then there is something that you need to look at. It's as simple as that.
I always make sure to take my dog for daily walks outside, rain or shine. My spirit enjoys being out as well so that I can take in beauty of nature. When I see how happily my dog reacts to seeing old friends, I am reminded to give my friends a call and make time to see them, even if it involves flying across the country once in a while to do so. My dog shows pleasure so openly at being hugged and petted. It reminds me to hug and schedule that massage long delayed because of an overly full calendar. My dog enjoys her routines but absolutely loves going somewhere new and makes no effort to contain her excitement and explorations while there. We respond well to new places and experiences as well. So schedule that vacation to a new location, even if it's a day trip to explore a neighborhood or park you've never been to in your area.
So neural growth, it has been said that neural growth takes place. That means the brain cells. Neural growth takes place twice in your life, right? Once when you are growing up between the age of 1 to 6, if you have not used any of the cells while in that period, those cells get eliminated. The neurons get eliminated. Okay. The next time that they say that neural growth takes place is when you are in love, right? During puberty. And at that time, the neural growth again takes place. So if you remember when you were in love, everything was possible. You were on top of the world. Everything was beautiful, right? Now, if you observe a child, the child is always in awe. Whatever you give into the child's hand, the child will look at it with awe. You know, what is this? How is it? All that stuff. This is what it is saying over here. Enjoy what you're doing, but enjoy doing new things also. And especially as we age, it is very, very important to be engaged in doing new things. New neural cells don't get generated, but neural growth can still take place even if you're 90 years old. Why? Because the dendrites grow and new synaptic connections get created between the cells so that new pathways get created in your brain when you do something new. So it becomes extremely important for us to do new things, to experience new things, and to enjoy doing new things.
Finally, my dog is not afraid of stopping and resting when tired, content to be around loved ones and stare into space, relaxing, then gradually and naturally falling asleep with no concern for the clock. We benefit from the gift of quiet relaxation time as well, so we can be ready for the next call to action, whether it be dinner, a walk, a new toy to play with, or person to meet.
So sleep is one of the most important activities that you can ever do because the body regenerates itself when we sleep. So getting adequate rest is very, very important. If you are overly tired, then you will become irritable, reactive, you'll get angry very easily, right? Because your resilience is down. The battery pack, the battery charge that you have has come down. So it's very important to recharge your battery. And the recharge takes place when you're resting. So if your body needs the rest, it is very important that we take the rest. It is very, very important. In fact, let me tell you, I have shared this many times again. that we were doing a gateway voyage, and one lady, when she joined the workshop, she slept through 3 days of a 5.5 day program, and we let her sleep. Okay. Now, ultimately, we found out that she had not really slept for 6 months. So it was more important for her to get that rest and that sleep than to actually experience the experience of the workshop. So sleep is extremely important. We need to know when to stop and rest and when to be active. That balance needs to get created.
In case you were wondering, I love cats too. Mine inspires me mainly to be relaxed and graceful, to do my own thing, to ask for what I want, and to not fret about what anyone else thinks.
So cats are very good at this, right? They will always do their own thing. Dogs will follow the owner and all that. You will not find cats following the owner. When they want something, only then they'll come to the owner. So it is very important. One of the things that is there in the gateway affirmation when we do the workshop also is that we ask for help. So knowing when to ask for help and how to ask for help is also extremely important. Okay. And a cat does that beautifully. So the cat will approach you when it wants something. That's the fitrat of the cat.
When you treat yourself as well as you treat your beloved pet, you honor yourself as a most important guest at the feast table of your own life. And the universe, in turn, responds by treating you as such, with great manifestations of abundance and good fortune. I often use this affirmation: I welcome myself as most honored guest in my own heart. For me, it counters old tendencies to put myself last and deny myself satisfaction by focusing too much on struggle and work.
So in life, we have these savings that nothing comes easy. You have to work hard to achieve something. Now, these sayings are actually counterproductive in the sense that you are saying you're setting yourself up for a struggle. You're setting up yourself to having to work hard. But what we are learning in awareness over and over again is that effortless effort is what we are looking for. Spontaneity is what we are looking for. We are not wanting to make efforts to achieve something. We want to achieve it effortlessly, right? And the more we trust that the universe will provide for us whatever we want, the more the universe will provide it for us. When we want to strive to do something, we are doing it with a small conscious awareness. When we allow the universe to manifest for us and trust it, we allow the entire conscious awareness to start working for us. So over here, he clearly says, okay, the universe in turn responds by treating you as such, with great manifestation of abundance and good fortune. But we have to allow the universe to manifest it for us. Today, if you really look at yourself, or when we look at ourselves, we ourselves are the biggest stumbling blocks to our own success. Okay, because we are constantly saying no, we are constantly saying can't, we are constantly saying won't. So we create resistance rather than create flow in whatever we are doing.
Another powerful way to generate happiness is to allow ourselves to feel grateful. We will explore the powerful energy of gratitude in the next chapter. It is the next energy after happiness that, as a wizard of great wisdom and power, you put into your liquid luck energy elixir.
So gratitude, there is no substitute to gratitude. I think I mentioned this in the last book reading, when we go for Vastu rectification or energy field rectification to anyone's house, there is one frequency. In the Lecker antenna, it is 11.5. Whenever that frequency is off in any environment, it clearly tells us that the people over there are dissatisfied, right? Now, that immediately implies that they are not operating from gratitude. So there was this story, one person came to this guru and said that, I think it was moving around in WhatsApp, and said that, I don't have anything, I'm very, very poor. So the guy called him and told him that, okay, I'm going to cut your right hand and I will give you 10 lakhs of rupees. So the guy says no. Then he says that, okay, I'll cut both your hands, I'll give you 50 lakhs of rupees. The guy says no. Then he says that, okay, I'll give you X amount of money, you give me your eye. And so on and so forth. At the end of it, the entire total comes, let's say, to 1 crore or 2 crore, just giving an ad hoc figure. So this guy tells him at the end that, see, I offered you so much money for things that you have, but you did not take it. So that means you have so many assets which is worth so much, right? So we fail to be grateful for so many things that we have. Today, we have 2 years. Most of us who are sitting on this have a computer. We have a place to sit. We have eyes to see. We have a mouth to talk. We have ears to hear. We have hands to operate things, right? We have a chair to sit on. So in our lives, there's so much that we can be grateful for. But what are we constantly looking at? We're constantly looking at what we don't have. And then the lack is what will manifest, because where you focus your energy, that is where the manifestation will take place. So what is your thinking process? Where are you focusing your attention becomes extremely important.
Chapter 2, Gratitude. Just another exciting moment from my liquid luck listening. I am almost 70, and for all those years, I have been looking for a 4-leaf clover, that most lucky of symbols. I have lived on 2 continents and in 3 countries, and always watched out for a 4-leaf clover. Never ever found one in all these years. This morning, I was walking my dog when I looked down, and there at my feet, sitting slightly apart from the other clover plants, was a 4-leaf clover looking right at me. My mother used to sing that song to us all the time. I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover that I overlooked before, and I could hear her singing as I knelt down and carefully, apologetically picked the little precious little thing. I'm putting it inside a book to dry properly. Imagine 70 years and I finally found one. It's got to be liquid luck.
So 4-leaf clovers. I remember when we were in school in Darjeeling, we used to have this competition, who can find more 4-leaf clovers. And at the end of the day, we even found 6-leaf clovers, right? And it was a magical moment when you found those leaves. So anything that is rare and you find it always gives you a kick. So naturally, after this guy did the liquid luck exercise, he had never found a 4-leaf clover in his life and he manifested it. So that's beautiful.
From the liquid luck meditation, then say, I am grateful, feel gratitude and send gratitude, concentrating it into your elixir, thinking of all the wonderful blessings in your life and feeling your gratitude for them, and sending this energy into your portion.
So this is a part of the liquid luck meditation where we actually send gratitude into our magic portion, which we then drink to create luck in our lives. Most of you have done the meditation. We'll do it again maybe in a week or 2.
In the liquid luck meditation, after allowing happiness to flower, one is next guided to feel gratitude, which is the feeling and expression of appreciation for what one has or experiences. Feelings of thankfulness and appreciation open up one's heart energy even further and increase awareness of the good we are already receiving. This helps us to be open and ready for more blessings to flow to us. One of my fellow trainers at the Monroe Institute and a good friend, Francine King, is fond of putting it this way: the attitude of gratitude creates the space for grace. This concept is also compatible with the principle of like attracts like, espoused in Esther and Jerry Hicks' The Law of Attraction, recently popularized by the movie The Secret. Deeply and consistently feeling happiness, gratitude, and other positive emotions tends to bring us positive experiences.
So Francine King is one of the senior most trainers at the Monroe Institute, and she is the creator of the Starline program. So we have Starline 1, we have Starline 2, and we have Starline Reunion. So first you attend the excursion workshop, which goes up to Focus 12. Then you attend the Gateway Voyage, which goes up to Focus 21. Then you attend the guidelines or the Lifeline program, which takes you up to Focus 27. Then you attend the Exploration 27, which takes you up to 34. And the Starline programs takes you up to Focus level 52. So it's an amazing program, extremely powerful programs. They always tend to fill up whenever they are announced.
Have you done the Starline, Nikedya?
Not yet. Not yet. In the cards.
Yeah.
Right. So again, over here, she says the attitude of gratitude creates the space for grace. When we are in gratitude, then automatically you start operating out of humility. The ego takes a downturn when we are in gratitude, right? When the ego is operating, you're operating with the small mind. When you are in gratitude, you are more open. And then the resonant frequency that you are transmuting also attracts more gratitude, more things into your life, which again you can be grateful for. Again, when we go into anyone's house and that frequency 11.5 is off, I always tell them that means you're dissatisfied, you're not operating out of gratitude. And if you are not operating out of gratitude, then that what you have, that means you're not appreciating what you have. If you don't appreciate what you have, you will never get what you want. So this becomes extremely, extremely important. Okay. Yes, Raghuji,
Good
you have to
afternoon.
start your video. We have a thing over here that if you want to speak, you have to start your video.
Yeah, okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. Well, I just want to confirm that what I heard from Joe Dispenza, gratitude is the highest level of receivership. When you are in the level of gratitude, everything flows into you and you are able to receive.
Correct.
That's what you
Absolutely right.
said. You are attracting it, but it's a beautiful way of putting it. I just want to share it. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are in a state of gratitude, you are, that's what is being said in this book, right? You open yourself to receiving, and that frequency that you're generating automatically attracts abundance into your life.
Yeah.
True gratitude is very joyful happiness again. It is very different from the feelings generated when someone tells us, you should be grateful receiving a gift that you didn't want and looks useless to you for your birthday. Now, write that thank you note this minute. That is not gratitude. Rather, that is a feeling of duty or obligation to be grateful when you are not feeling grateful at all.
So again, whenever we want manifestation to take place, the thinking and the feeling has to go hand in hand. So you cannot act out gratitude. You have to think and feel gratitude. Otherwise, there's no point in doing a show. Then you're going into a control drama. You're playing a game which your heart is not in it, right? Then it doesn't make sense at all.
Melody Beattie in Gratitude Inspiration says gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend.
So when someone is asking for a blessing, according to me, the best blessing you can give anyone is that you have enough. Okay. Now, what does that mean? When you need something, you have it. Right. So if you are hoarding, if you have more than what you require, it's actually useless because it's lying around, it's lying in your cupboard. You're not really using it. But when you need it, you have it. That is the most important blessing that you can get in your life. So it turns out over here that he's saying that the shift in attitudes take place when you're operating out of gratitude. Now, let us say anyone is there who is here, who is operating in the left side of the grid. Now, we've really spoken about the grid a lot. Most of you know what I'm talking about. So if you're operating on the left side of the grid, if you bring attitude, an attitude of appreciation and gratitude into your state of consciousness, you will immediately shift to the right side of the grid. And that is where all manifestation starts taking place, right? So she says over here, denial into acceptance, enough and more, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. Now, when you go into appreciation, when you go into appreciation, then anything that you're eating, even if it is not very good, you start to appreciate it. Now, let us say that there is a famine, right? Now, you're used to normally when everything is all right, you're used to having 3 vegetables, dal and rice and a chapati, right? For that matter. Now, if there is a famine, if you get even one chapati, that will seem like a feast. So again, it's an attitude. Okay, let me just take you all through the grid. There's been a request. We've been talking too much about it, so it's very important that we just show it once. Shivamla, I'm taking the sharing. So this is called the resilience grid. We talk about it extensively in the Resilience Advantage program. Some people have just done the program. And we had a great, at least I had a great time.
We had a great time.
That's good. Thank you.
हम लोग को तो सबको बहुत अच्छा लगा 10 घंटा कहाँ गया पता ही नहीं चला
चलिए मौज करिए Okay, so this is from the Resilience Advantage program. Now, when we are in the top side into these two sides, the heart rate is up. When we are at the bottom, the heart rate is down. When we are on these two columns, we are getting depleted. When we are on these two sides, we are getting uplifted. Now, I am just going to clearly name 4 emotions very clearly to indicate where we are. Now, let us say we are angry. Okay. So if we are angry, the heart rate is up and it is depleting. So where are we? We are here. Okay, angry. Now, if we are sad, the heart rate is down and we are getting depleted. If we are excited and we are joyful in doing what we are doing, then the heart rate is up, but it is uplifting. So I'm going to put joy over here. And if I'm at peace, I'm at calm, I'm in a meditative state, right? So then the heart rate is down, but it is regenerative. It is uplifting. So peace. Right. Now, think about which side of the grid you would rather be, on the left side or the right side. Now we can pull up many more emotions over here. I'll just show you the list that we made in the Resilience Advantage program yesterday. So you'll get a better appreciation about it. Would anyone like to comment on this? Which side of the grid would you rather be?
Right side.
Right.
Right, obviously.
Right
Right
side.
side, right. Now, where do we spend most of our time? Think about it.
Right side. Left.
Okay,
Left.
most of the time, let me tell you, unless you are really getting into awareness or getting into understanding what your thinking process is, most of the people are operating on the left side of the grid. So I'm just going to pull up that other sheet that we created in the program yesterday, so that you'll get a better understanding of this. Can you all see the list now? So anger, impatience, overthinking, anxiousness, frustrated, irritated, resentment, confusion, fear, all that is on top, because everywhere in all these emotions, the heart rate is up, but it is depleting. So sad, hurt, depressed, helpless, all these emotions are depleting and the heart rate is down. When we come on the right side of the grid, appreciation, gratitude, engrossed, peaceful, content, calm is at the bottom side. Happy, excitement, enjoy, laughter, confidence, energetic, joyful, light, feeling good. Again, gratitude they put on the line here, right? Now, the trick is, and what are we wanting to do in all the programs, whether it is the Monroe programs, the HeartMath programs, your Zero Limits, or whatever you're doing, the idea with all these things is to shift from the left side of the grid to the right side of the grid. So there are 4 ways in which we can shift. We can shift from the top left hand to the top right hand. We can shift from the top left hand to the bottom right hand. We can shift from the bottom left hand to the top right hand, or shift from the bottom right hand to the bottom left hand to the bottom right hand. This is the game that we are playing. The more time we spend on this side, the better off we are. And this can only happen if you are operating from awareness, if you are conscious of where you are operating from. Because as a society, most people are stuck in the left side of the grid. Okay, why don't you all just put on the chat? Let's be very, very frank with ourselves. And why don't you all put on the chat and be truthful, right? Which side of the grid are you operating from? Just put right or left. Quickly, let's do this quickly. Okay, so mixed. But what I see is that most people who are coming regularly for awareness sessions, they are operating from the right side. Okay, this is what I am seeing, because you all have become more aware of where you are operating from. Basically, that's the game. Anyone wants to say anything about this or make any comment? Please unmute.
Niket,
Yes.
I would like to say something. Definitely, like when you just now showed the left side and right sides, okay? And with all the details and everything. And I'm so grateful, even to the universe, to put me in this situation that I am only thinking right side.
That's good.
A very, very little left side comes, but immediately then you realize that no, this is not, there was no need to be angry. There was no need to raise your voice or any such thing.
Wonderful.
So yes, I think I thank you. I thank Oneness, which has also, explained me this, that yes, thinking positively manifests the positive thinking in your life. So thank you, the universe. Lot of gratitude.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else would like to say anything? Okay. Shivamala, you're on.
Melanie Greenberg, psychologist in the mindful self states, experiencing and expressing gratitude is an important part of any spiritual practice. It opens the heart and activates positive emotion centers in the brain. Regular practice of gratitude can change the way our brain neurons fire into more positive automatic patterns. The positive emotions we evoke can soothe distress and broaden our thinking patterns so we develop a larger and more expansive view of our lives. Gratitude is an emotion of connectedness, which reminds us we are part of a larger universe with all living things.
So very clearly it states that whatever you are thinking, whatever the attitude that you have, that those are the neural pathways that will get activated in your brain system. Now, it is a given fact that most of what is happening within us and around us is happening automatically. We really have no control over what is happening. We think we have control, but in actual fact, we really do not have control, right? It happens in an automatic way. So the neural pathways which are automatically developed, and the more you develop the good or the uplifting neural pathways, that is how the neurons are going to fire, and that is what is going to manifest in your life. So the more that we can operate from the right side of the grid, which she is saying, operating from gratitude. Whenever we are in gratitude, we are automatically on the right side of the grid. And all manifestation takes place on the right side of the grid. No manifestation can take place on the left side of the grid. This is a given. There is no chance. The simple reason is that if we want to manifest, we need energy. And on the left side of the grid, you're getting depleted. You're not manifesting energy, right? So manifestation cannot take place. So very clearly, if we want stuff, we want growth in our lives, we want good things to come into our life, we want to feel connected, we don't want to feel isolated, right? We need to be on the right side of the grid.
Gratitude is associated in psychology studies with increased levels of energy, optimism, and empathy. It can be cultivated. One way is to take a moment each day to express appreciation to someone who has been helpful to you. Thank someone for good service as you leave a tip or email a company expressing appreciation for their product. Say to yourself or express to another that you are grateful for the sunrise or discovering a delicious new recipe. It can be anything and it does not need to be something big. If someone thanks you rather than answering with, "Oh, it was nothing," say that it was your pleasure and tell them why.
So again, going into appreciation. So find something to appreciate in everything. That is the game that we need to play. I'll give you a funny incident. I think it was in the 1990s, if I'm not mistaken, when I started going into these higher states on my own. Okay. I felt that I was connected with everything and I need to express my gratitude to everything that I'm using and everything that is there in my house. So I actually started doing a ritual which used to take me about 1.5 hours every day. I used to walk around my house and touch every showpiece that there is, every piece of furniture that is there, whatever I could lay my hands on, and start saying thank you to that thing. Okay. Now, of course, I do a gestalt and say thank you all the time to everything. But at that time, I really used to actually make a make rounds around my house, touching every chair, every sofa, every showpiece, every cupboard, every painting, every picture, and say thank you. Before I used to go to the prayer room and say thank you to the boss. Okay, so the point is that the more that we can appreciate what is there and what we are using today, if I'm sitting on a chair, I need to be grateful to the chair for it to allow me to sit there. Now today the chair may get angry with me and make me fall. So I'm grateful to the chair. I'm grateful to the screen through which we can talk to each other. I'm grateful to the internet company. I'm grateful that all of you are coming here to listen to the book reading, right? So the more you can operate in gratitude, the better off you will automatically be. And appreciation is a key to shift from the left side of the grid to the right side of the grid. I can't emphasize it more. And you're going to keep hearing me say that again and again.
I would like you to imagine a miracle planet with me. Imagine that this planet has a symphony orchestra with over 50 trillion members, which can play an incredible variety of music and play each piece perfectly. Within this grand symphony, there are many sub orchestras, each playing something different, but somehow harmonious with whatever grand song is playing at the moment. All this goes on seamlessly, even though billions of new members join or leave the symphony's ranks each day.
So all of us are constantly radiating frequencies. Every thought that we have, every action that we take is resonating in the universe. Okay. There was a movie, all of you should see it. It's called August Rush, where there's this young boy and he hears music in everything, right? There's a rhythm that he finds in everything. And whatever is he doing, whenever he perceives something, he perceives music. Okay, so this becomes important. Where is the music? To look for that music, to look for that interconnectedness with everything. There's this saying, I keep repeating it again, that if a butterfly flutters its wings in Brazil, it affects the entire universe. So any action that you take affects the universe. In fact, when Dr. Brian Daly and Alan, they gave a talk to us on biofield imaging, there is one video that they showed us where there is one guy who's standing, I think it was in Sedona or near Grand Canyon or someplace. And the guy is actually blessing the earth, right? One person just blessing the earth. And the entire field changes at the moment when he is blessing the earth. So now just imagine if all of us start blessing the earth, how vibrant the earth will become. But how many people actually appreciate the earth or the ground that we walk in? I remember Ramji Lalji Panditji was there, and I considered him to be one of my teachers. But he used to always tell me that Niket, bed bistar se utarne ke pehle dharti maa ko ram ram karo. Do pranam to Mother Earth before stepping on Mother Earth when you get up. And let me tell you, that itself is so powerful, because when you are saying thank you to the Mother Earth to allow you to step on Mother Earth, it's automatically shifting you into gratitude, if you get what I mean. So the first thing that you do is go into gratitude. Okay.
Now imagine that the symphony has simultaneously 5 conductors who are only partially aware of each other and yet manage to conduct in a way that allows beautiful songs to flow. And additionally, that each of the conductors can call at a second's notice for a change in song, and the orchestra will instantly and seamless shift to the new song required. Furthermore, this symphony can play around the clock without even a second's break for more than 100 years without stopping.
So again, in the Resilience Advantage program, we talk about a concept called coherence, right? Now, if you see a shoal of fish, one fish turns and the entire shoal turns, and that shoal may be 100 miles long. Okay, so where does this communication happen? It just happens instantly. Why? Because everything is interconnected. Everything is related to everything else. We just have to be able to tune into that particular frequency. So over here, if he's making a hypothetical example over here, where these conductors are there, they really don't know that they are there, but they are all working in conjunction with each other, and they are building on everything simultaneously. There was this experience I had when I went for the Exploration 27 program. When I went into into Focus Level 27, and I was seeing the planning center. I was in the planning center over there, and there was a training room over there, and that scene I just can't get out of my head. I think I mentioned this before, where these people, they were sitting on desks and they had like a globe in front of them, and they were putting stimulus into the globe and seeing what was the result. Now, another thing which is said is that any kind of innovation that takes place in the world, many people start working on that innovation simultaneously around the world, right? So there has to be some kind of interconnectedness which is there, which make many people do the same thing or start working on the same thing at the same time, which is what he's saying over here. There are 5 conductors and they are playing the music, and all of them are in resonance with each other. Another fact of this is that they had this study done where previously, of course, nowadays newspapers have become electronic, etc. But the Times, that, what do you call that word thing? That what is it?
Crossword.
Crossword.
Yeah, the crossword puzzle, right? In the newspapers, they did a study that if a person worked on the crossword puzzle before it was published, if it took him, let's say, 20 minutes to do the puzzle, once the crossword was published and many people had solved the puzzle, after that, if he did it in much less time, maybe half the time or 1/4 of the time. So this clearly indicates that there is something called resonance, or there is, this was a term developed by Rupert Sheldrake. He called it the morphogenic field, right? So if someone has done something, then it becomes easier for another person to do that same thing. They found it in experiments with rats also. When they put the rats into mazes, they found that once a rat had completed the maze, subsequently the rat started doing it faster and faster and faster, right? This is something that you can observe. Like when we were growing up, we had difficulty in understanding how to handle the remote. Nowadays, a 2-year-old is handling the remote. Why? Because that how to handle it is already there in the morphogenic field, and we can actually tap into it. So again, the symphony is being played.
Such a symphony has to be judged as such an impossibility that it could only be called a miracle. Yet, on this wondrous planet, there are billions of such symphonies, 99% of which coexist cooperatively and peacefully.
So the problems are actually created by just 1% of everyone. The others are actually peaceful. It's no one wants Jamila.
Yes, this miracle planet and miracle symphony we are imagining does exist. The symphony is your body. The conductor you are most aware of is your conscious mind, which is often barely aware of the other conductors, which are the intelligence centers in your unconscious mind, your heart, your gut, and your spirit. The 50 trillion orchestra members replaced by the billions daily are the cells of your body. The songbook the orchestra plays is life, and indeed, you can change the song at a moment's notice from calm and serene, even asleep, to awake and engaging in a nearly infinite variety of moods or activities.
So beautiful analogy. Our body, how does it run? Let me tell you, we ask this question in most of the workshops. How much of what is happening in your body are you aware of? Okay. You can type on the chat. How much do you think you are aware of what is happening in your body? Will anyone like to take a guess? Okay, so most people have done the program here. Okay, most people have done the program. So we are actually not aware of most of what is happening in our body, right? But the body still functions very efficiently. And the point here is that we are not even consciously aware of what is happening. We are not aware of most of the things that are happening in our body. In fact, let me tell you, we think that we are aware of what we are thinking, but actually we are not even aware of what we are thinking most of the time, because the thought is just coming. You're not consciously aware of it. You're going into from one thing, one topic, you're jumping to the other topic, and you don't even know why you're jumping or how you're jumping. There is no structure to your thoughts also. So we think that we are aware, but actually we are not aware.
In fact, the whole symphony started with just one member, the one-celled zygote from the Greek word for joined, formed from the union of egg and sperm. And this one cell then seamlessly maintained the song of life through division into 50 trillion members of the adult human body, handling amazing changes along the way. This is the miracle and power of the human genetic code. The complexity of your body symphony is so staggering that it is hard to begin to grasp, and sometimes it is easier just to contemplate a small part of it, such as the beauty and the complexity of the song of the human hand.
So every part of our body is so fantastic. How it runs, why it runs, why does it form in that particular way? No one has an answer. And it's actually beautiful. If you take a microscope and start looking at what is happening, it's really beautiful what is happening inside our bodies.
Watching the Olympics or a Cirque du Soleil show can give you an idea of the body's capacity for inspiring endurance and beautiful movement. It saddened me as a psychotherapist to meet many people who felt that their body was something to be ashamed of and gross. It saddens me when I see so many people believing the news that we are horrible creatures who are constantly at war and trying to scam one another. If there are 6 million people at war today, that means that there are more than 7 billion people at peace today. So less than a tenth of 1% are at war. This is the real news, that we are peaceful creatures with very, very few exceptions.
So again, we talked about Dr. Emoto, right? The effect of words on water, and we are 70% water. So what are we thinking of ourselves will automatically affect our well-being. This becomes very, very important. And this, again, we've also discussed that a very small part of the entire world's population is actually looking for war and harming other people. Most people want to be peaceful, right? And that is extremely, extremely important. The problem is that we are not able to take charge of these people who are creating a problem. Again, it's a matter of raising the level of consciousness. When we again look at it from Dr. Hawkins' point of view, we are just as a whole society, as a whole, I mean, the world population is just at 200 on an average. There are very few people who are going above that. So the idea here is that if more people raise their level of consciousness in Dr. Hawkins' methodology, I'll just pull it up again. Shimangla, I'm just sharing the screen, okay? So humanity as a whole, they say, is operating at courage, which is at 200, right? The more people that we have operating at the higher levels, then the entire human consciousness will start getting pulled up. And this is what we are actually wanting to work with. So what is the level of consciousness that we are at becomes very, very important for how we are going to experience life as a whole. Are we in fear? Are we in grief? Are we in apathy? Yes, in different aspects of life, you may be operating at different levels of consciousness. But what is your overall average? That becomes very important.
It's 3:23.
Oh, okay. So then we can stop here. Anyone, anything to say?
There is a